Hey everyone, and welcome to our channel. Today, we will discuss the purpose of the Chinese DF-41 ICBM with MIRV that can hit any part of the US. While the world's attention is focused on Gaza and Ukraine, a third area could erupt near China and Taiwan, threatening the world with World War III. Taiwan issue threatens to spark a war that would dwarf all other current conflicts. But unlike other conflicts, the conflict over Taiwan will almost certainly invite the involvement of the US military, leading to the first direct clash between the two major powers in 8 decades. Analysts state that the People's Liberation Army is working quietly in manufacturing thousands of weapons for the day of a confrontation with America in which nuclear weapons may be used. China's nuclear program is dangerous as Beijing now possesses 410 nuclear warheads that land-based ballistic missiles, sea-based ballistic missiles, and bombers can launch. China is on its way to having 1,000 operational nuclear warheads by 2030. 5 years after that, it will have 1,500 nuclear warheads. While this number is much lower than the Russian and American stockpiles, it is still very dangerous, which indicates the possibility of China fighting America and inflicting heavy losses on it if a terrifying confrontation occurs. China has the Dongfeng 41 ballistic missile, which was unveiled in a military parade during the celebration of the 70th anniversary of the Communist Revolution. Let's talk about this missile. A strategic intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, the Dongfeng 41, or the DF-41, is made by China. The solid-fueled missile can fly at 25 times the speed of sound and carry nuclear warheads over distances of up to 15,000 kilometers, meaning it is capable of reaching the United States and causing terrifying explosions that would require a lethal American response. Let's look at its specific capabilities. The range is about 12,000 to 15,000 miles, which means it can reach most of the world. It is thought to have 3 to 10 independently targetable re-entry vehicles, normally called MIRVs, each with a destruction power output of 150 to 250 kilotons. To give you an idea, the bomb that hit Hiroshima had about 15 kilotons of power. It is possible for a single 150 kiloton bomb to kill people right away within 5 kilometers and do a lot of damage within 10 kilometers. Some models are road mobile, and some are possibly silo-based, which makes them hard to detect during the launch. Let's understand why China needs a missile with DF-41 capability. The Chinese 2nd Artillery already has the older DF-5A and the more mobile DF-31 and DF-31A ICBMs, and this new missile is added to their collection. With a range of 7,200 to 8,000 kilometers, the DF-31 is the only one of the 3 types that can reach Alaska with a single warhead. With their range, the other 2 can drop a single bomb anywhere on the US mainland. The DF-31A is said to be able to use MIRV and can carry 3 warheads, but this will shorten the missile's range and stop it from hitting the US mainland. As of now, China has the technology to send 1 warhead on a rocket to the US mainland, but it is worried about a new threat that makes it less effective at deterrence: the US's missile defense programs, which are getting better technologically and growing in size. Let's look at this aspect now. Experts predict that China has 30 to 40 ICBMs with the range to strike the United States mainland. If the United States were to make an initial strike, China's retaliatory capabilities would be diminished because US missile defense systems may intercept any remaining missiles before they could be fired. However, US ballistic missile defense or BMD technology is still in its early stages of development, and many technical assessments of US BMD systems indicate that they cannot withstand saturation strikes, countermeasures, and multiple independent targetable MIRVs. It is well known that China has the necessary technological capabilities to create and implement MIRVs and countermeasures that can breach defenses. It's simple to say that BMD can or can't stop Chinese rockets. But how is this going to happen? There are 2 ways for China to launch an ICBM attack on the US mainland. The circumpolar path of the first one takes it over the North Pole. The second is over the very edges of the Northern Pacific. No matter what, the missiles have to go through the range of the Alaskan interceptors and, depending on the target area, over California as well. US ground-based X-band radars and Aegis ships in and around Japan would be able to find and follow any Chinese ICBM launch during the boost phase. The Spy-1 radars have been said to have tracked ballistic missiles from more than 1,000 kilometers away. The TPY-2 X-band radar may be used as forward-based sensors to notify the SM-3 or SM-6 interceptors when a threat missile launch is identified. Due to Earth's curvature and line-of-sight problems, the radar can only pick up the rocket at a certain height during the boost phase. This depends on how far away the launch point is from the radar. If the ICBM is launched from places closer to the shore that are within the SM-3 or SM-6 engagement envelope, it may be shot down during the boost phase. What does DF-41 do to help? Assuming that a single interceptor of the US BMD has a 30% chance of interception in Alaska and California, it would take 4 interceptors to stop a single missile. This means that 120 to 160 interceptors would be needed for 30 to 40 Chinese ICBMs. Once the DF-41 MIRV with 10 warheads starts to work, this missile force will need 4 times as many interceptors because it will have 4 times as many weapons to intercept. The situation will become more difficult if the Chinese use defenses and decoys, which will require even more interceptors. But, as we already talked about, as sensors get better at telling the difference between decoy and warhead and interceptors get better at what they do, the Chinese efforts might not be as useful after all. But, it is still a better effort than the DF-31A. Now let us sum it up. There is enough range for a DF-41 missile to hit any part of the US mainland. It can also use MIRV, which will make it more effective at getting through the US missile defense shield. Putting the DF-41 into service will make China's nuclear force bigger by a factor of 3. Still, the minimum deterrence policy might not change. The goal is still the same, to keep a force ready that can drop at least a few nuclear weapons on the US mainland. Do you think DF-41 helps Chinese to inflict nuclear weapons on the US? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this content, please subscribe to the channel and share and like the videos.